Hi, it's Charisma at Charisma's Corner, and today I am so excited to share with you. My whole thing with quilting, I started quilting because I learned how to embroider. And so embroidery, even though it's, I think some people maybe know me as maybe more of a modern quilter, I actually love traditional embroidery, hand embroidery. I do a whole lot of different stitches, wrap stitches, and those sorts of things. And you can see some of my videos uh, before I actually started doing, real videos were embroidery videos that my husband and I just recorded with our iPhone for my friends and that sort of thing, just kind of showing some of the embroidery stitches that I include in several of my work. So I actually have a whole line of embroidery patterns, and several of them, I have three versions actually called penny notes. And penny notes are little journals. Here's one of them, my little classy chicken. So penny notes are just little journals, and we embroider on, I provide embroidery instructions and the stitches that I use for all of the patterns. And there's three versions. The very first one that I published is penny notes, regular penny notes. And each pattern that, each penny notes pattern that I have offers 4 different designs that you can choose from. I also sell kits in my Etsy shop, and in those kits comes a pattern of your choice, any of the versions of penny notes that you like, because they all have different designs in them. A journal, a linen fat quarter, some wool pennies to get you started, and some rings to stitch over. And so penny notes, and there's a couple other versions that this is the most basic one. It was the first one that I published, and then as each new one that I release, they get more and more technically difficult, if you'll say that. They're not really all that difficult, but I give all of the stitches that I use, and there's tutorials for all of those stitches on my YouTube channel. So we have that, and I have some of my samples of journals here for you. But I thought a great thing for me to do, instead of like really focusing on the stitching for this video, was focusing on how we put those journals together. And I have a little handout in my on my website with just some cute little embroidery designs that you can download for free off of my website, charismascorner.com. And I just whipped out a few little 4-inch designs. So you'll see this like framed flower here. I have the Save the Bees and this Faith one. And so all I did, instead of doing the linen fat quarters, because I just really like stitching through linen, is I just did my stitchery on the linen, and then I used scraps, because we all have scraps, and just sort of did improv piecing to create this journal cover. So I have it ready here, and I'm just going to sort of show how I assemble these. So I have my piece done here. I have 2 here, and I have my piece of batting that is just a little bit longer than my journal if I spread my journal out. So see how I just spread my journal out here, and I have just a little bit that goes past the edges. And so I have this here, and if any of you know, when I do my embroidery, I like to instead of using stabilizer, I'll just put a little piece of batting behind my linen so that I can stitch through that, because I just feel like it's softer. I have tons of it. I'm a long arm quilter by trade, so that just works out well for me. So now I have my piece of batting here, and I've already measured it. I already know, but if you want to place your journal just to kind of get a feel for where these are going to land, you can mark the middle, that sort of thing. I just want to make sure that everything that I do is going to make it so that my stitched piece lands right on the cover of my journal. So that's all looking pretty good. Now what I need to do, I have my hot iron, and I am going to go ahead and iron the short edges of my journal down. And I'm just gonna go like a 1/2 inch because we need to stitch that raw edge down. So I'm just gonna iron that real quick. And I'm gonna stitch those down. And I just like to give that generous seam allowance there when I do that. Okay, and now I'm just gonna stitch on either side of this right here. Okay, and now that I've stitched those ends down, we have that seam allowance nice and secure. We're going to do the tops and bottoms. And all we're going to do with that is we're just going to press this down. Same thing, we're gonna go about a 1/2 inch. We just wanna, maybe a little bit more than that. We just wanna go right a little bit over that bit of batting. We're gonna catch that in our, when we stitch this closed. And if you feel better stitching this now before we do the flaps, you're welcome to do that. But I just do it all in one step when I'm sewing. So it's like covering those books when we are in school, right? We had to cover our books. I don't know if they still do that. Okay, so now that we have that done, I'm just going to test and make sure that I have a 1/4 of an inch here. I like to make it a little bit tighter, but so now I'm just going to kind of test this to see, okay, where am I at? Fold this over. Okay, what kind of adjustments do I need to make? Oh, I really like where that's landed. Okay, so we're good. You can feel free to pin that or not. So now I'm just going to press this where I had it here. Now all I'm going to do is sew on these lines right here, and what I like to do is just back stitch on these ends right here as I'm going, so that I can give that a little extra strength when we have to like pull those journals in and out, right? Because we just that's a stress area for those. Okay, and now we have our finished journal cover here, and I'm just going to slide this journal in, and I like to make mine a little bit snug just so that it fits nice and well in there. And here we go, look at that, Save the Bees. Cute little scrappy journal cover, and you can make these any size. The math is in the pattern for if you have a different size journal. And so I have this one that will be my next one, but it finishes all the same as this. And you can see on this one I added some little buttons. I stitched in the spine here. I was able to control where, or, you know, I checked to see where the middle of my journal cover was, and I just made sure that that ended up right on the spine, and then I stitched that just to add a little bit extra embellishment. But if you have a secret message to add, to give for a gift for a friend or something, you can add a special scripture, add some quotes, or you can put their monogram on it, anything like that. Great gifts. And so those are penny notes. So I just want to say thank you for joining me today, and I'm so happy to share this little journal with you. And I hope that you, if you have any questions, just go ahead and contact me at charismascorner.com, and happy stitching.